Hi, this is Pot again. Um, I will talk about the workflow from Adobe Illustrator to Cinema 4D. This workflow can be applied to Cinema 4D in After Effects or Cinema 4D standalone. Why should we start working with Cinema 4D and Adobe Illustrator? Most of designers when they design the logo, they always like to work with Adobe Illustrator to create the logo designs. In this case here, on my showing demonstration, you can see this logo. I have organized in 3 layers. So you will see the red layer, the blue layer, and also the white layer. Right? So the benefit of Cinema 4D and Adobe Illustrator is you will be able to open Illustrator file in Cinema 4D in a relative proportion on that. So I will show you how we're going to do that. So I zoom in and then going to save as. In this case here, let me change the logo color mode into RGB. And now I like to show you how this logo will be interpreted from Illustrator to Cinema 4D. So I go to File and Save As, and I'm going to save Illustrator file format. Okay, and then I'm going to choose as the version 8. Okay, the reason you have to save as version 8 because anything that you save, more than newer than version 8, it won't be recognized in Cinema 4D. So in this case here, the version 8 is already been tested. So it's open smoothly in Cinema 4D. Okay, now I click OK. Now I go to my Cinema 4D and then go to File menu and Open, and select that 3D logo, the logo 3 part. Now when it's asking to open, you can select what kind of scale. So if you want a bigger scale, I would recommend like do not go to centimeter or millimeter, just go to by feet, so it give you a reasonable bigger size. So in this case here I select feet. So now you can see the Illustrator file which is open in Cinema 4D. Now I like to show you in different viewport. So this is the front. Okay, so you can see it just look exactly what it does in Illustrator. Now I like to mention something. This is the objects that transfer from Cinema 4D. So it's recognized as a one shape, and then if I make this as a 3-dimension by using Extrude tools, right? You can see the problem when I do that, right? The whole thing was become just only one piece, one solid piece. But when you open this file in Illustrator, you probably want to try in different thickness or rearrange the logo itself, differently. So I like to show you how this thing works. So let me close this file for now, and do not save it. And now I go back to my Illustrator, and then what I plan to do, right? I like to have a base, Then I have a embossed layer of the blue layer, and also I like to have the red part. in a separate, but everything I want to be relatively all together in this proportion and space. Okay, now what I have to do, I have to, okay, since I organize everything in the layer already, so I can delete the layer I do not want. All right, delete that, and then I go to File and Save As. So in this particular version, I'm going to call this version as a base, B-A-S-E. Okay, and of course I'm going to save as Illustrator 8. Done, right? And then I make undo to recover everything back, and then now I'm going to select another layer, which is base and red, and then delete it. So now only layer I have left is blue, so I'm going to save as, and then I'm going to change the name it to blue. Yes. And of course again save as Illustrator 8. Now I undo to recover back, and then I'm going to do it with the red layer, so I delete the rest of that. Yep, and just delete the red layer, so I save as, and then I'm going to do a red layer. Okay, so now I have all five ready. Okay, that's data 8. Okay, so now all done, and then I undo, so everything just got back, and then I can close this file. I don't need to save it anymore. Then I go to Cinema 4D and open the file. So let me start to open with the base file. Okay, and then I'm going to open as a feed. So now you can see certain leftover part here. Okay, on that. Okay, I have some part left there. Okay, so I think I might need to go back and fix that. And then let me open the blue layer. Yeah, okay, so that is the blue layer, and then I'm going to open the red layer. Okay, so now I think I got everything I need, all elements which is open separately, but I need to go to fix the base layer, which is I do not need that particular part, so I go to Illustrator and reopen that base layer, and then go to view, and then so I have some invisible object here, so delete that. Right, okay, so now it's done. Let me save it, and of course it's going to be saved. Oops, sorry. I will need to save override that file, so I want to save as a base, then override that, and then go to Illustrator 8 format and save, and click OK. So now I go back to Cinema 4D, right, and close this file. Command W to close it, and do not save it, and reopen it again by go to File menu and open, and then open the base one, and then open as a feed. Okay, so now I have a clean, nice. Okay, let me introduce you a bit about the function in Cinema 4D. Okay, so you can see the way you organize the tools is on the top right here. So in Cinema 4D you can have orientation tool, move, scale and rotation, and move. Those kind of tools is available on the top. It's also come with the rendering option and model and all the lighting and camera option. So on the side is more like the orientation tools on that. And on this view here, so we call this is a viewport, and we have a property that we have extra area on here. So you have a project property, you have also like kind of object manager on here. So anything that you have it available, so it will be on this list here. And on the bottom part is the material window and playback, revise, those kind of tools here. Okay, so now what I like to show you is the viewport function. So the viewport function here, you have 4 icons. The first icon is a move icon, so it will move your object left, right, up, down, right? So this is not affect the models, it just affect the way you view it. And the second icon is the zoom in and out, so this one used to zoom in and out. And the rotation, so you can see the rotation icon. And then the last one is the button that toggle between 4 viewport and 1 viewport. So when you toggle with 4 viewport, right, you can select any viewport you like, and you can, you know, make it full screen, something like that. So in this case here, I have this front view selected, right? So you can see another thing that I like to mention, which is the center of the world, and this is the model. So the model is kind of, you know, popping up the lower right of the center of the world. Okay, so the reason I say that, because if I want to move the registration point to the center of the object, right, it's kind of reorganize this. I will need to work with different viewport. So you can see, okay, let me zoom out. Okay, all right, okay, let's see right now. Okay, and then this is on the top view, right? Okay, so now if I like to move this registration point to center of the objects, but before I'm doing that, right, I like to show you how I'm going to put this, you know, into the logo. So now I have a base ready, right? So what I like to do, maybe I select that base. You can select directly from viewport, or you can select it from the window manager. So I select that, and I can copy or cut by using Command C or Command or Control C, right, to copy. And then I go to next file that I open. So in this case here, okay, let me show you if I going to paste it in blue, right? So right now you can see this is the blue layer. On the blue layer is have the, you know, in single layer here. So if I press on it, you see what happened? So it will be exactly the same position that you see in Illustrator. And now I'm going to take the red layer. Okay, so this is the red layer. So on this red layer, you can see they have two particular one on here, right? The way you organizing it, right, is going to be a separate. But in this case here, you probably want to have this red layer become a same object, same group of objects. So what you can do, you can select both of them, right? And then you can group it together, right? Or you can just select it, right? And then you can copy. Okay, let's, in this case here, I just take the whole thing. So I just copy, and then I go to layer, and then I go to press. Okay, so now what I have, right, I have everything in position. So when I turn on my full viewport, you know, it's going to look like this. right? So I can rename this the way you like, but right now my logo is just in two dimension. Okay, so now what I like to do, right, I like to to make it in 3D look, make it look in 3D first before I set up the registration point as a center. Okay, now I like to show you how I'm going to work with this. For example, like the bottom part here, um, and also the base one, right? So I want to extend the base, give some thickness of the base. So the way to do that, right, I can use extrude. So when I select extrude, right, it show up right here. The way it works, you select the object you want to extrude and you drag it and drop into that extrude. Okay, so when you drop onto that, okay, let me zoom in a bit closer on perspective view. So you will see the thickness of it right now. Okay, so when you select the extrude, you will see right now the default of the thickness is 20 centimeter. So if you click and extend it, you can make it as thick as you like, but in this case here I just left it as default 20 centimeter. And then another thing that I like to mention, when you zoom in, right, for the 3D, the edge is also important. So in this case, I like to add the bevel into that part. So I can go to cap, and I can try with the start cap. On the start cap option, you have none, you have cap, you have fillet, and fillet cap. Okay, let me try the fillet. Okay, that is what it looked like, and also the fillet cap. Okay, so okay, let's see. Right now, I'm going to make this all fillet cap. Okay, to make sure it's fill the surface, not fill only the edge of it. Okay, and the radius, the default is 5 centimeter. So if I decrease, you see what happened? So it's become thinner. Okay, so let me go back, and then okay, let's look at the radius from the front, the start point. So if I increase, right, it's going to be too big, but if I decrease, it's going to be too small. All right, so in this case maybe 5 centimeter it seems to be a good amount of reflection. So this fillet, the start point is in the front, and the end point is on the back right here. So if I deselect the end point, you see what happened? So it's gone, right? So if you cap, that means you fill it up. So in this case here, I'm going to just say a fillet cap on that. Okay, so now let me rotate back to the front right now. Okay, so now you may realize where is the rest of the logo, right? And the reason the rest of the logo gone, because it's just stay inside that shape, you see, because when you add the fillet cap, you have some thickness out of this part right here. So right now I still have my other part within it. So now I have to do the same thing, right? So let me move the different part of my logo, right? Okay, let me move the blue part a bit to the front. All right, so now I move forward to the front. So what you can see that part of logo. So now what I like to do, right, I have to go to extrude, right, to the tools, and then now I got the extrude number 1, yeah, I would say, yeah, drop that blue layer into that, right? So when I drop into that, right, so I can see, okay, let me move it a bit forward, right? Okay, so now it's interpret the shape of it, right? How far you can go. Right, okay, let's see. Now it's quite hard to see because it's all gray. So what I like to do, right, maybe I will need to adjust something here to make it look different. So in this case here, okay, let me show you how to create a new material. So the new material, right, the first one is, the default is white. So I can, how we apply it, we just drag it and drop it, to the object you want, or you can drop it to the object manager. So in this case here, I just drop it to the base side. I can see some problem going on here for the shape of it, right? So you can see the shape of this part. It's just kind of weird looking here. So you might need to fix that on the outline mode in Illustrator, something, all right? But in this case here, maybe you don't, we do not do it yet. Okay, let's create another one. You can just go to new material and create a new material. So on the new material here, you can allow to set the color by using hue, saturation, and value. So in this case here, you can borrow the color from here by, you go to open, and I can open my logo and see this shape going to be a bit complicated. So what I like to borrow, okay, let me borrow the color first and see, okay, the blue color. And when I look at the blue color, right, you can see the hex code here. So you just need to copy the hex code, and then you just go there and you can punch in the hex code, or you can just okay, punch in the, okay, let's see if I can select the hex code in here. Right, no, right, okay, I guess maybe I just put the hue saturation value on here. So it's going to be 216, 75, and 32. 216, so 216, 75, right, and what number, and 32. Okay, so I got that blue color, so I can drop that blue color onto that. All right, okay, so there's some problem here, so I might need to fix that. Okay, let me see. This is the object I traced from Illustrator, so it's maybe not as clean as I expect, so maybe it's not so good to use it. So let me delete this. All right, and then let's take a look at the red part right here. Okay, how this thing work, right? So you probably need to let's see if I will be able to group, or okay, I can connect the object. So when you connect the objects, right, it's become two part of that. So okay, let me turn off that object first so you can see. So now when I connect the object, it's become one object. So I delete this so I should be able to delete the rest of that, the original one. So this is the new one. All right, so now I move this outside, outside that, and I can delete that part. So you can see these two objects is become one object. Now what I like to do, I like to using the give some thickness of that, so create extrude and then drop that onto that. So this one is okay, I can see, and of course I can also working with the extrude fillet cap to give some of the bevel on that part here. So fillet cap, okay, so now I have that part on, right? And so this one, it should be red color, so I can select the color, the blue, copy, and command V to press, and then I can change the color. Okay, let's see if I want to pick the red, right? Okay, that's the red color, and what it looks like is like 351, 86, and 87. Okay, so 351, 351, 86 and 87. Okay, oh, maybe something wrong, not right. Oh, 351, 86, 87. Okay, let's take a look. 350, 350. Okay, now I got it red. So let me drop the red part into the objects. Now you see when I drop in these two objects, since it's connected, so it's become one object. Now let me turn on, the preview of these objects. Okay, now I have this part here and I have the base. So what I need to do, right, I need to move this red part a bit, forward. Okay, so how I'm going to do that, I can select the objects, right? But right now, how I'm going to move this, you see my registration point is right here. So if I move that, right, okay, so now I can move this a bit. Okay, so this is, that is the registration point of this object. Okay, so now I have this red. Okay, so now let me go back to fix the logo. This logo, when I do it, right, I use the image trace in Adobe Illustrator to do that. But I guess maybe some problem, a shape maybe a bit too complex, so the way it translates to Cinema 4D is not quite good. So what I need to do, maybe I give another attempt to retrace it. Okay, so right now I'm going to retrace it with the pen tools by pressing P, and then I just draw that shape. Okay, so I'm going to just use a pen tool to draw this shape right here, and then option, and then okay, and then okay. So this might not be a perfect logo, but just give you the idea. Okay, so now let me adjust this a bit. Okay, so now I have the new blue layer on here. Okay, and maybe I just turn off the previous one. Okay, before I turn off that, let me pick the color of it. All right, let me pick the color. And then yes, so select that, and then yes, I'm going to pick the blue color. Okay, so now it's done. So what I need to do on here, right? Okay, let's see. Oh, I still need the elephant eyes. Okay, let's see. Go back to pen tools. The shortcut is P again, and then okay, let's me work with that part. I'm going to just draw the shape. Okay, so now I have that shape ready for me. Okay, let's see. So cut that. Okay, and lock it, turn off, and go to the new layer, and then press in press. Okay, so I have that shape, so I select the object and subtract it. Okay, so now I have the elephants, okay, that's good enough, right? It's a bit bumpy, but okay, let me try to smooth it out. Okay, using pen tools, and okay, let's see. Oops, sorry. Okay, let's smooth this thing out a bit. Okay, so I think that should be good enough. So now what I like to do, right? So I need to export this. Okay, let me save this file. Okay, so it's going to save a convert. So let me select this object, right? And then I go to selection, and then select and invert. So it will select anything but not select. So I delete everything else. So in this case here, okay, let's see. I select this object, still have that red. Yeah, I can delete that to red. Yeah, unlock. Okay, now let me save as, and I'm going to replace with the blue base. Okay, so select that in the Illustrator 8. Okay, Illustrator 8. Okay, now it's done. Now I'm going to go to Cinema 4D, right, and see if I open the file up and should be able to translate properly. Hopefully, all right. The project is already. Oh, sorry. Let me save this thing first. Maybe let me save as. So I'm going to save as a compressed version of Cinema 4D logo in Cinema 4D PLE complete. Right. Okay, so now let's go to open the blue part and see. Okay, all right. Okay, I think it's a bit complicated because I still have some layer left. Okay, let me go back again. Okay, let's close that, and okay, I can close this one as well. I don't need that one anymore. Yeah, say no. Okay, now let's fix that, right? If I look at this one, right? So what I need to do, I need to delete the layer I do not need it. Okay, so now that only layer I have left. So let's save file and the blue. Yep, save as Illustrator 8. Yes. Okay. Now go back to Cinema 4D and open. The blue version. Alright, okay, so that, okay, now I will need to test it, make sure it's work the way I like. So extrude nerve and drop onto that. Okay, this time it seemed to be work the way I need, right? So you can see it look really nice. And of course I will need to add some bevel on that, so I select extrude nerve and cap and fillet cap on that, and maybe the radius of it, maybe instead of 5, so I just need only 2, just a tiny one. and then on the back, okay, on the back what it look like this is flat. Okay, so I just need only once, so it should be okay. And then select that. Okay, let me select that, copy, and then go back to the models and then press. Okay, so now I got my logo right here, right? So I need to move forward, so I move it forward, all right, a bit. So now how far forward you want, right? You probably want to zoom into this one, make closer, and then you look at it, right? Okay, right now, okay, now I'm zoom in very close, and then what I need to do, right? Okay, let me zoom out a bit, and I move this. Okay, now I need to move this forward to align with the red part. Okay, and then go back. So now I have the blue and the red, so you can see the front here look very nice, right? But the only thing that I need to fix is the red part here, and instead of 5 radius, so I need to put 2 radius, right? Okay, 2 radius. Okay, so it just look a bit different. All right, okay, now if you look from the side, look like this, you know. Okay, now I have to drop the blue color onto that. Okay, now it's look good to me, right? So you can see everything is looking good now. Of course, you can just go to File and save again. I think if you keep saving your work, it's a good idea. Okay, now I can, you know, after I play around with this, right, I can, you know, move this whole thing together and then group it. Okay, group the whole thing together, group as objects. Okay, so now it's become one object, so that way when I animate it, right, it will be much easier, and I can, you know, adjust this. The problem right now, if I try to rotate this thing, you see what happened? If I try to rotate my objects, right, it's going to rotate, you know, on the registration point, not along with the logo itself. So that's why I need to move this registration point from here to the logo. So how are we going to do that? Okay, so now we have to move to the orientation tool, this one, right? And when you roll over, you can say enable access. So you can click on that, or the shortcut is L, right? And then you will be able to move it, you know, move it. Right now I just move it align with the logo. But where is it though? It's just right on the top here, so I just need to move it lower. So this is the 4 viewport come in very handy, so I can, you know, select it the way I feel it look center, right, to the logo. So that means right now, after that you turn off that, right, and you turn on the rotation. Now you see you can rotate the objects right here. Okay, so now this is a good, you know, workflow from Illustrator to Cinema 4D. Thank you.